We'll be getting started soon, friends. First, say hello in the comments. Let us know who is here. And just get comfy. We're going to really dive in tonight. We'll be getting started in just a few moments. Again, just let us know if you're here. Say hello, maybe where you're tuning in from. What's your present state, present experience? And just simply get in a comfortable space as we begin to dive in. If you feel called to start a watch party to support others who are also likely at home, then this is welcomed and encouraged. And just about to get started here. Hello, hello. And we are here. Once again, nice to see who is here. You can say hello. As I mentioned last time, we're not together in the same breathing space, so naturally this presents its opportunities for adaptation and evolution of how these sessions are done and how we experience things together. I hope and I trust your day has been going well, and if it hasn't, then I hope this will support you in some way. It's an ongoing reminder that no matter what our life experience is presenting us, it's always truly okay. And the more we can remember that and be reminded of that, then we have a certain opportunity to really live life to the fullest. And sometimes when we hear that statement, we think, it always has to be the joyous experience. It always has to be this bliss train and all of the above. And naturally, when we create the idealistic idea that this is the way life should be, and of course, when we're placing shoulds on life, this is of course when we're creating quite a lot of challenge. When we have these idealistic ideas about things that actually create, in Buddhism, one of the most fundamental sins, we could call it, is that of criticism, comparison. The majority of the time, this criticism and comparison is not necessarily towards some other, but within our own experience, within our own mind, about our own way of being and our own way of acting and our own way of thinking. And we can see how this brings an inevitable place of suffering, real depth of suffering. And so tonight we're going to dive into whatever's meant to be dived into. I had some topics that, have been common within my own experience, and actually I feel can be the direct path, a rapid approach to coming to a deep sense of contentment and ease within your life, no matter the circumstance. and ease in relationships, and ease in the flow of abundance that we can perceive all around us, and ease in our creative expression, and how we look to merge work and play and see that they truly are no different, and how we can live among a time that naturally will bring out everything and bring up everything to the surface. How can we ride this wave and just simply be existing within it all, return to simple existence, and then see how the doing on this foundation of being can surely be a beautiful experience and be what it's meant to be. And we can see it in this way. So once again, say hello if you're here. If you'd like to start a watch party somewhere, this is welcomed, because we are going to go into some really potent and powerful topics. And regardless of where you're at, regardless if you're coming from a more basic viewpoint, whatever that means, or if you're coming at this from a space where you have been committed to this path for some time, and you're coming into a deep space of awareness within yourself, and we are naturally seeing those, like many of you who have done much of the work, who have committed themselves to coming to a place of clarity within, who have committed themselves to simply just living the natural unfoldment of their life rather than trying to make it something that it may not be. Then it's natural for others around you in these times to look to you. To look for support, look for some guidance. This is really what it is. So when we're in a space of a collective unfolding, as we always are, naturally we're going to be faced with the opportunity to come into ourselves more deeply, to come into an acceptance to the moment and to what the holographic perception or projection of our reality is revealing to us, and take a moment to look inwards in a truly authentic way, to see what we are unfolding in a collective space as we are, and what we're unfolding in an individual space, which just simply means how do we show up in our day-to-day, moment-to-moment reality. So this is the time in which naturally we can be given the opportunity to see the reflection of darkness that may come in the mirror. And the reflection of this darkness is obviously an opportunity to see the darkness that is revealed within oneself, to see where this brings up the entirety of what is within and what is inevitable to be brought up at some point or another, and come to a place where we embrace both the light and dark equally, where we can see truly that everything is a manifestation of the same source. Everything is an opportunity to see the same source, and everything is with the single purpose to reveal the source. And so maybe as an opportunity to explore this in the moment, we can bring our attention inwards in this initial space here together. And we can simply just be here. If you want to close the eyes and move the attention to the center of the heart and the center of the chest that you can, take this as an opportunity to release from the day, maybe connect with yourself in an authentic way, in a simple way. If we need to use the breath, we can do this as well. Focusing on the center of the chest, there naturally can be a breath moving towards the back of the spine. And expanding that breath throughout the entirety of the body. And we're really going to slow that down. So take this first few moments to really slow that down, where the breathing into the center of the chest. Once again, nice and slowly in through the nose. And expanding that, letting that surrender, dissolve. Just simply slow yourself down, slow the mind down. And as you're working with this breath, it can expand beyond just the center of the chest and the heart. You can expand that breath through every cell in the body. And as you exhale it, feel it dispersing through every cell in the body. And just simply surrender to that rhythm for a few moments once again. Whether the eyes are open or the eyes are closed, it matters not. Just use this as an opportunity to soothe the entirety of your being, entirety of your body. Now in this process, naturally, as we're observing, the attention can be brought to areas of the body where there may be tension, areas of the mind where there may be tension, where there is an attaching or a resisting, or there's a holding to, or pushing away. And naturally we can pull our attention into that, move our awareness into that, and be with that directly. And see what occurs as we neutralize these opposites, as we come to balance within whatever the energies are in the body, whatever is arising within you. As this process is as simple as this, coming into a neutralization of the opposites that occur within mind, within the emotional body. Coming into a balance and clarity within every cell of the body, whether we use the breath or not, just simply resting into yourself, resting into that sense of being that is really untouched and unscathed by the movements of mind, the movements of sensation, the movements of feeling. returning to this authentic self. And so wherever you are in this meditation, naturally, you can continue with the eyes closed if you like, or if the eyes are open, this is also welcomed. As we've been traveling down the rabbit hole naturally as of late, the messages continue to point to the reality that whether the eyes are open or closed, the practice is in a certain sense the same, where we're looking to rest in the middle between inner and outer, seeing that everything that we perceive in the outer reality is a projection of our inner reality. And of course, everything that's held within the inner reality will manifest in our projection. And because the universe is comprised of both light and dark, it holds all potentials of what Source can manifest into. Thus, we'll be faced with the polarities of these projections. We will be faced with what is naturally unconscious within our experience, that is to be made conscious and brought to light. And in that arising, we are given the ongoing opportunity to realize the Source that exists within all. And I'd like to read something that I came across recently that I feel really gives a certain beauty to the process some of you may be unfolding in. Naturally, we will all unfold in at some time. I'm going to read this here. It's a short paragraph. The man whose goodness is of the kind that does not alter with the altered environment or with the changing attitudes of those around him or her has reached a divine goodness. He understands the supreme good within all. He is no longer concerned with evil as a thing that can harm, but he is concerned with good only. And so he ignores evil and recognizes only good. He perceives that men commit evil out of the mistaken idea of good, and thus perceiving no hatred against any, enter his peaceful heart. Of course, this is for he or she. The life of such a man is powerful, no matter how obscure it may be, for goodness is the most powerful thing in the world. The fact of his living and moving among men confers incalculable benefit upon the race, although during his lifetime this may not be perceived or understood. So powerful is his goodness that the destiny of the world was, is, and will be in the hands of the good. Let that sit for a moment. We feel to this. From the eyes of Source, we can see that all is a manifestation, firstly, of Source. And secondly, all is a manifestation of the best that any being or any single piece or individuated projection of consciousness can do or be, always doing the best they possibly can. We're always only ever doing the best that we possibly can. And so from this lens, we're given a certain power back to ourselves, because we recognize all of the emotions that are triggered by the external reality, by our environment, by others, by people who do things to us, supposedly. This is, of course, where we are draining our energy, where the power that we have has been pulled away. And so when we pull this power back to ourselves through the righteousness of our actions, our thoughts, our words, our feelings, our involvement in life, embodying the true attitudes of the universal way, the teachings that have been spoken by great teachers among the millennia, among aeons and aeons, we come to a perception of goodness. And this perception of goodness sees the source within all. It sees the opportunity within all for goodness to be further revealed. And so we come back to this safe haven because this is where true peace is found. It's found in the heart of hearts where we perceive all as goodness. We see that source is within all truly, no matter how it's appearing, no matter how it's making us feel, no matter how it's arising. And so the abidance within the source naturally perceives the truth within all. It perceives the pain that another may be feeling. And the pains in which that other is feeling naturally then projected upon you. But this is just simply the reflection that we're seeing. The reflection of our own pain, the reflection of the collective pain, the reflection of traumas that have existed for millions and millions of years. Seeing this reflected back within our holographic reality in which we have come to know as our life, as our experience. So what does this mean to you? This is the question. What does this feel like to you? To live this directly, to know this, to come to be this, to act upon this in every way. Especially in a time where naturally we're seeing the collective darkness reveal itself. I don't know about your news feed, but I'm seeing a full plethora of things come up in my news feed day to day. And so this is an interesting question we come to when we're perceiving the plethora of potential things that can be attacking us, revealing the darkness that is still inherent within us, revealing the traumas that are healing themselves. And so when we can perceive that truly it is always every being doing the best they possibly can, then there's a certain compassion that comes to light, a certain goodness that comes from within us that looks to match this goodness we can perceive in all. It's this loving service, this compassionate service that wants to bring forth this light in the most simple of ways. It comes to a place of truly listening to the reality, truly listening to what the hologram is presenting us. Seeing the pains in which we're being called forth to show up into, to serve. So this is the really endless message that we will always be brought to. It's an ongoing practice. So as we do this initial meditation, as we have just done, we come to the opportunity of experiencing a loving grace within ourselves through dissolving the intensity of the emotions, the intensity of the feelings that arise within us. And I'm going to go into a specific diagram that will logically break this down for some who may have trouble with this, who may need to see the logical presentation of how do we move through the onion layers of our feeling state and the overwhelming thoughts and the things that arise within us day to day that may naturally bring much challenge. And I don't know if you're facing any challenges today or at any point in the past little while that you feel called to share as you've moved through. This is welcomed in the comments. But it's really this opportunity we're ongoingly faced with, where in the time we're in, as the vibrational energy of the planet and the collective continues to increase in its speed, the speed in which the revealing of our subconscious the revealing of the darkness that is within us that naturally wants to be brought to light. This will be brought forth in faster and faster degrees, in greater quantities. But these quantities are not outside of what it is that we can handle and bring the light of our surrender to. Similar to this video I shared this week that you can go watch after. The simple video of exploring the flow of the river that is perpetually surrendered, in perpetual change, has no time to think whether it's going to go left or right around the rock. It just simply moves. And this is so much of what we're going to continue to be revealed into, is what does it mean to surrender into life? What does it mean to surrender into the revealing of this inevitable and perpetual change that we have always been in and will continue to be in and embody and experience directly? But now it's brought to the surface in a much more profound way. A way that in each moment is new. In each moment we have never experienced, any of us, before, because we're headed into already very uncharted territory, we could say. Excuse me. Uncharted territory in which all of us will have to experience differently and will be brought into the intensity of our own darkness, excuse me, depending on where we're at and depending on how committed we are to seeing Source within all. Because the paradox of the path, naturally, is that the intensity in which we involve ourselves into perceiving Source within all and surrendering to the Source within all, we are revealed intensifying degrees of what is seemingly or can initially be perceived as not Source, of what is not ourselves, creating the inevitable distancing, the inevitable resisting, the inevitable pushing away or attaching ourselves to, coming in the form of idols or in the form of lesser than, the greater than or lesser than, perceived in people and places and things all over and across the board. And so to the degree in which we have the intensity of our devotion fixated upon revealing the truth, revealing the Source within all, naturally we will be faced with more of what seems not that. And this is, of course, where the opportunity is. To move through the inner alchemy, which is turning lead into gold. For those that are many of you have been taking the liberation remedies, these old Tibetan remedies. We have a number of them. This is the external form of alchemy, where we're taking certain energies out of specific substances and transforming them into substances in which we can consume and we can use in our alchemical process of ascension and awakening. So this is the external form of alchemy, in which naturally then ignites the internal form of alchemy, which is the process we're all unfolded in here, where we're being given the opportunity to deepen into how do we turn lead into gold? How do we turn these emotions that are in very intense nature, emotions that are of very consuming, identifying nature, emotions that we really would like to resist or pull away from? How are we alchemizing that energy, that base energy, into its higher form, into its higher expression? So the movement of this alchemical process is a very vital one, because we have to recognize that because all energy truly is of Source, all energy that makes up the shame and the guilt and all of this is the same energy that manifests in the joy and the excitement and the expansion, the blissfulness, the peace. To move through the entirety of what consciousness is presenting us in every moment naturally is where we gather our fuel. It is where we gather the energy we are going to have to move into our creative process, to move into our service, to move into naturally what is going to continue to light us up moment to moment. And so when we're being revealed the entirety of what is to be revealed within us through the process of interacting with the world and the perceptions and the beliefs and the opinions and the crisis and then this and that, we're given deeper and deeper opportunities to come into what is truly our own creative expression, our own love, our own inspiration, our own surrender to the unknown, where there can be a true involvement in life exactly as it is. So we can even come into this once again. We can feel into ourselves, right into the center of the heart. That's available too. The eyes can stay open or they can stay closed. The entirety of this is a meditation in that sense, where the movement into the heart opens the doorway to truly be revealed within the consciousness, whatever is holding space in your consciousness, meaning whatever is standing out to you. Whatever is being revealed to you. Bring your attention to that. Move your consciousness into that. What is this aspect of your consciousness revealing to you? Ask yourself this question. And if you're just coming in, we're simply asking ourselves whatever question is alive. What is the steaming question that we have on the mind that's coming to us, that's seemingly pulling our attention away from this moment, pulling attention away from our sense of being? Can we breathe into that? Can we feel into that? Can we drop all the ideas, opinions, beliefs we have about this? And simply be with it exactly as it is? If we need to use the breath can be focused in the center of the chest and the heart. Breathing very slowly in through the nose, expanding throughout the entirety of the body. And as you exhale, soothing the entirety of the body just the same. Continue to surrender into deeper levels of relaxation within yourself, within your body, within the mind, within the emotions. Just simply find yourself being here, existing here exactly as you are. Resting into the natural peace and contentment within the body, within the mind, within the emotions. See if you can simply match yourself intimately with whatever's presenting itself to you in this moment. Whether that be the peace and the joy or guilt and the shame and everything in between. Nothing is left out, nothing's attached to, nothing's pushed away. And if you are focused on the breath and using the breath, we can slow the breath down, even 50%. Slow it down to such a degree where you feel everything in your body slowing down with it. Whether the eyes are open or closed, we can still do this practice just the same. Feel yourself breathing through every cell in the body, every aspect of your being. The moment the mind feels like it's come to an end, surrender deeper, surrender further. Find yourself in a never-ending pit of surrender, or falling into deeper levels of relaxation and rest within the body, within all the cells of your being, relaxing the body, relaxing the mind. Simply coming into that place of pure being, pure existence. The source of all of these thoughts and moving feelings and sensations, this simple being that does not change and remains the same. Just relax yourself. And so for those who feel complete in this, actually sharing how you feel in the comments, that is welcome. Those continuing on the process of your meditation, continue in this. No need to stop. Though we can see that when we maybe open the eyes at times or close the eyes, the practice of the meditation can remain the same, where we're resting in this source perception of all of the moving thoughts and feelings and sensations we experience. But as we drop our interest in these moving sensations, thoughts, and feelings, and we place our attention solely upon this sense of being that many times is felt within the center of the heart, but can be felt throughout the entirety of your body and beyond, we can come to a place of true presence. Where we can see that what may previously and potentially been perceived as something we were afraid of, something that was igniting the fear, intensity of our resistance or attachment towards what is perceived externally to you, we can see that this has less of an importance, less of an urgency, less of a pull or a push to it. And thus we can feel safe within our own body. And we can begin to perceive the goodness within all, the source within all. Seeing the same source that you're connecting to within your own being is the same source within all other beings, is the same source within all other objects of adamant or inanimate potential. All manifestations of consciousness within your perception, within your view, are made up of this same source, and thus are nothing but yourself. And because they're nothing but yourself, all we can do is love all the aspects of yourself. Bring patience and forgiveness, gratitude, appreciation, compassion. And we can bring that within our consciousness at any time. We can bring and pray, send our intention towards those beings who need this love and compassion and forgiveness, those who we feel are very close to us, friends, family, soul family, family frequency, strangers, enemies, leaders of the world. This compassion, this love can be sent, can be ignited. And the power of that can change worlds, can change universes. So we come here and we rest here together. I'll turn this music down. Let me know if you like the music in the background or not. Sometimes I bring it off all the way so we can really focus, and other times we can stay. Sometimes I fix my lion's mane so you're not distracted by it. How are we feeling? Say hello in the comments. Maybe start a watch party. Spread the love. Let's spread this everywhere. We're creating this space together, all of us, infusing our energy and rippling. You know, we don't even really have to be on a call together. We don't need to be connected in this way. Not even in the same time, space of meditation. Just constantly our intention of focusing on this love and compassion for all is creating ripples. And it will manifest and transform your physical actions, the ways you creatively express and what you involve in your day-to-day. This is not just some airy-fairy talk or some spiritual hippie in a cave meditating. We can see that there's a great potential to this, and we can also see the potential in our actions and the movements of our creative energy. The initial session we did this week on Sunday night that was replayed on Monday night supported in the clearing of the throat chakra. Of course, the same method is done tonight, and we can clear anything. This method is not limited to any specific chakra, specific point in the body, specific idea or belief, specific chord or entity or emotion. It is a technique in which you can heal anything. It can reveal any falsehood within you. And thus it is a very individual practice for each of us to practice it in this individual way so that we can reveal within ourselves what is simply taking part in our field of view in this moment that looks for our attention. Some idea, some belief, some trigger, some emotion, some opportunity, some situation, some relationship. It is all simply revealing more and more of ourselves. And so this method brings the opportunity again and again back to the moment, back to what's specifically arising within the body, so that we can see what are the initial arising ideas that we have around this specific thing, for one. And I'm going to pull up a specific diagram that I created a little while ago for those that download the free mini course that I've done. We went into this diagram in depth, so you can go and watch that 2-hour course. But I will bring up this diagram here. And this diagram is a more complex version of a very simple process that we do every time we sit here. Every time we're doing any authentic self-inquiry, every time we're bringing ourselves into ourselves, naturally we are going to be brought into this in a very simple way. And so this process that we're outlining here, it reveals the layers of the onion that we move through when we're moving through this self-inquiry, self-awareness, self-realization process. The process of coming to know ourselves at the core. So naturally we will perceive an object of attention, generally externally to us in our holographic projection. That will be a person, place, or thing. Some situation that reveals to us our subconscious habitual reactions, judgments, perceptions, and triggers. Number 2. These happen very effortlessly, really. So effortless how the subconscious triggers arise. We don't have to do anything. They just bring themselves to us. And as they bring themselves to us, naturally we see how quickly the triggers arise and the reactivity of our subconscious and how it comes forth. And so this reactivity is what guides us deeper. It guides us deeper into ourselves to reveal what is the source of these habitual reactions and judgments we have. Generally, they're going to be having to do with past or future, past situations in which are triggering future fears, relating to some trauma or some energy held deeply within the body. Sometimes it's manifested as a mental issue. Sometimes it's manifested as even a physical issue, as the last-ditch effort for consciousness to reveal itself to us and to show itself and say, hello, I need you to pay attention to me. So we can listen to our body, listen to what the mind is revealing to us, listen to our emotions and what they're pointing to, listen to in a very deep and authentic way, so that we can see, okay, this is what it's revealing to us. And naturally, the thoughts and feelings come simultaneously in number 4 and 5. These are our perceptions, the conscious thoughts we're having, the feelings we're having around this energy, which is generally going to be placed somewhere in the body. And this is the process of identification, where through this process of awareness, where we're identifying the trigger points in the body, where they physically come up, generally in the gut, sometimes in the solar plexus or in the heart. These are the trigger points within the body that are asking for our attention. And this is how we travel down and through the onion layer. It's as if we have this ball of energy. And this ball of energy, this onion, we're laser pointing ourselves to the source. We're feeling through all of the layers that the specific energy reveals within us. It's a very powerful practice because we're revealing the truth. We're revealing the light. And so as we travel deeper through, we begin to connect back to the awareness in which is always viewing anyways. And we can see that naturally all of these steps can happen almost simultaneously. And the more we practice, naturally the quicker it becomes. And the more ever-present this becomes, where this whole diagram is not just a revealing of a practice, it is a revealing of the way of being. It is a revealing of the layer of consciousness in which we're perceiving from, ongoingly, moment to moment, day to day. And so as we rest in this pure and silent awareness, naturally, this is where we become to get to know. We become intimate with ourselves, intimate with the light of ourselves, the light of this awareness, where awareness begins to turn upon itself, where the objects of attention, meaning the perception of some person outside of us, or our ideas and judgments about them, or the feelings and triggers that we've had about the situation that were revealed through this, all of this is not so much of an interest any longer when we're authentically looking to see what is the truth in the moment. Because we're authentically looking to connect with ourselves. We're authentically looking to connect with the depth of ourselves from the perception of awareness itself. So, of course, this is where we meet ourselves in the most beautiful way. This is where we're dropping everything. We're dropping all the ideas, all the thoughts, all the feelings, and we're practicing this intensity, a very tenacious focus. And as I revealed many times before, it is inside the majority of our groups, whether in Universal Awakening, in the Awaken group, or just on my main page, where you can go and access all the free gifts and courses, it will reveal the same method. The method of affirming, the affirming practice, which is the practice of feeling into all of these emotions, right? Feeling into the entirety of what's arising within our body, affirming what is arising, not denying it, affirming it with a deep sense of love and compassion. And naturally, through this affirming, through this embrace, this is where we traverse down through the layers, where naturally we will come to a denial, where we recognize that what we were affirming, we were validating, but it doesn't mean it's true. To validate someone's emotions does not mean their emotions are true, or within ourselves, to validate our own emotions does not mean they are true. It means that they are valid. It is okay that we're feeling this way, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's justified from a place of consciousness, from a place of truth. Because many times these emotions are coming from the pushing or pulling, from the identification with the false self, the identification with the egoic, the lower egoic mind. And so this is the process of inevitably denying what is untrue. Right? We deny what is untrue because, of course, as we would deny, why we deny what is untrue, we see, I am not this, I am not that. We perceive from a vantage point of true consciousness. We see that I am only truly this pure, untouched, unscathed source energy, this pure awareness in which is within all, existing as all, manifesting all, and collapsing all. This is the power and potential of coming to truth, where we rest in this source. This is awakening. This is self-realization in the simplest of lookings, the simplest of pointings in a logical way through this diagram. And through the experiential practice that we have just all done together. Right? An experiential practicing of coming to rest in your being, and we can all do this now ongoingly. Where we connect in with the heart of hearts, we connect in with the sense of ourselves, and which is always there, always connected, always available. It is the vantage point by which we're perceiving all of the moving thoughts, feelings, and sensations of confusion, of frustration, of joy, of happiness, of peace, of contentment, of boredom, of apathy, and all of the corresponding thoughts that come with that. This is the vantage point in which all of that is perceived and all of that is consumed. Because all of where that has come from this same source, where you're perceiving from, this vantage point of simple perception, simple awareness, and it is also where it will come back to and dissolve. So this famous quote that many people share around in memes and such, this too shall pass. Well, everything shall pass. Everything shall naturally arise from you, and everything shall naturally pass back into you. And this is, in essence, what we will come to know through the consequences of our actions. The consequences of how we act, how we think, how we feel, because we're on one unified field of source energy. Naturally, everything we think, everything we feel, everything that we act upon, everything we speak will ripple back to us. And so whatever is coming through us, naturally, the only duty is to surrender so that we can not slow that process down of inevitably what is coming to us to be faced. And of course, the practice of dying before you die, which is awakening, ascending into the true self, embodying the true self, is of course the process of passing through Judgment Day, which will come at the moment of death before it comes. The reason why so much religious scripture has caused so much fear is because it naturally, many times, is not presented the direct methods in which we come to resolve that fear by facing our own evil, our unrighteousness in our actions, our words, our thoughts, our feelings. Though if we have the methods, if we have the intention, if we have the source and the guidance from within, that naturally can point us in the direction of how do we come to reconcile and forgive and have gratitude and appreciation for the moments that have passed, that we may have not always acted in the perfection of light, and thus have another opportunity to further refine our actions within the perception of light, within the perception of righteousness, of treating another as we would desire to be treated, to see the self in all. Everywhere you look, everywhere you go, is yourself. And we come back to this over and over and over and over and over again. Coming back to connect with the true self, coming back to the connect with what is true in every moment and how do we dissolve what is false within us and bring to light what is now deemed false and act in alignment with true integrity and the true way. So this is the core of the message tonight. Now, I'm going to check in with all of you again. Leave in the comments. I'm going to check the comments. I've been watching them the whole time, but I'm going to just say hello to people and all that. Kimberly, thank you for your message here. Happy you feel more balanced now. Yes, Joanne, this is correct. Sending much love to all of you in the Universal Awakening group. Kaylee, exactly. The alchemy is in the crying and the release, the anger, everything. If we observe and accept all emotions as valid, naturally we can transmute them into the higher form. They will transmute themselves. We don't really have to do anything. Energy always has a way to manifest itself in its highest because source is always here. The truth is always here. It is always true. It is always, truth is always true and it is always here. So if we simply connect to it and align with it, we can surrender back to the effortlessness and ease of our path, the peace of our path. The path that asks nothing of us other than to surrender to it and to see that the free will to align with our destiny is where the two merge. Right? And we've gone through the exact method here to resolve that polarity. Any polarity that anyone is having, specifically in the mind, where there's a difficulty with any form of topics or ideas, this practice dissolves the two. It collapses them together. Because generally, for instance, when we're in a decision of left or right, do I have to do this or do that? The majority of the time, when the more that it seems left or right, is the more we're in the urgency, the anxiety, the not self, the misalignment with the truth and with the natural flow. As we come to an ease within ourselves, a quieting of the mind, a resolving of our emotional energy, which is pushing against one, pulling against the other, as we resolve this, we see that it really can always be both. Because they're really pointing to the same thing. They're just making the complexity of themselves be intertwined within the illusions of reality, within the illusions of our material existence. And so when we pull it back, we see that really there always is a middle way. And whether we go left or right many times is not going to change the outcome of our experience. And the only reason we are holding ourselves to one or the other is to the degree of some idealistic comparison, some perfectionism, some criticism within ourselves we have not resolved. Right? A fear in which one way will manifest this and another way will manifest this, when really, in reality, the unfoldment of your path is already on its way. It is already unfolding. It has always been unfolding. And so the more in which one is getting out of the way, simply coming into alignment with themselves, then there's a true beauty and a true surrender that can unfold here in a very practical form. So, yes, what else is here in the comments? If there's any questions about what's arising in your path, whatever is coming up in your time, then we can get into that. I believe I had one other thing to read. I did read the first thing. If you missed it, I'd highly recommend to go back. It's a short piece, but it's so beautiful. I have another piece I'm going to read actually in a moment. It's quite juicy. Oh, Charlene is here. Hello. So many new people been connecting with all over the world. So blessings to you all, wherever you're tuning in from. If you're tuned in late, again, highly recommend to rewatch these. Anytime you rewatch these, you're still, experiencing the energy. You'll experience the transmission, the entirety of what is present for us all in whatever time that you watch this. Even if it's a year from now, it's going to be the same potency. That's the beauty that we all have when we share. When we share our creative gifts and we put our stuff out there in whatever way, whatever authentic form it takes, there's a certain potency in which that brings throughout time. And as long as we stay integral to our pure intention, to our love, to our compassion, to our true service, naturally we will create ripples in this time or another. And we're only meant to show up to those who are willing and ready to show up to in front of us, those who are coming in front of you, those who are ready and willing to receive you in whatever way. Always remember this. We all have unique talents, gifts, and abilities. This is why I continue to recommend the human design readings, because it helps reveal this in such a potent way, in an ongoing way. It deepens itself into revealing who you are, into revealing what your natural inherent design is, and how we can get so refined. I've been in the system for so long, and I continue to get more and more refined, and I'm still just a baby in it all compared to some. More and more refined, more and more refined, more and more alignment to truth, and to the ways in which we're conditioned, to the ways we've taken traumas on from parents and all types of people, and how that's carried on lifetime after lifetime, lifetime after lifetime. And we're in a time where so much of that, if not all of it, can be resolved. A time like we've never experienced before on this planet. And that's a big statement, because this planet's existed here for a very long time. And humans have existed here for far longer than what the traditional history books present us. And we've come in waves, and we've come in very advanced forms, and we've come in very primitive forms. But the time we're coming into now is unprecedented. There's nothing like it ever in the history. And so we are not to take that for granted. And we can't possibly take that for granted if we come to know this, and we're here breathing together, meditating together, connecting together right now. You will only ever be guided deeper into this at a certain point, and reveal deeper and deeper ways in which you can reveal yourself. Because in a certain sense, it's never ending. And so with this perception, we can have an ultimate compassion and forgiveness, an ultimate acceptance of everyone who comes before us, no matter how evil they may seem on the surface. We have to come to a true perception where, again, if we are in the truth goodness of ourselves, we cannot truly perceive evil. We only see goodness, not out of a blindness, but out of seeing that there is always a spark of light within all, because that is how everything could manifest. There is nothing within existence that could not have light within it, because darkness doesn't actually exist. It is an illusion. So if there was anything as such of true evil, then in a certain sense the universe would collapse. It would collapse instantly. It could not exist if this was the case. So always remember this, that no matter what is being perceived, there is always light at the source. There's always light at the source. And no matter what is being perceived now in this collective space, where so many conspiracies and collective ideas of darkness are coming to the forefront, and they're revealing some unspeakable, true abomination, sins, or unrighteous actions. Abomination is the truth of unrighteousness, which is in a sense harming a child. This is the ultimate abomination on this planet, and pretty much all others. The innocence of the child, the innocence of life. So in the revealing of all of this unspeakableness, which so many are coming into the reality of now, which is very much an important aspect of our unfolding. Wherever you are, seeing these things, seeing things come to the surface, naturally it can be challenging. It can reveal much from within you. It can reveal an initial rejection, a denial. This can't be the truth. This can't be possible. But we have to truly move into that within ourselves to see that anything really is possible in any degree, in infinite ways, in both directions, up or down, left or right, towards righteousness and away from it. But yet, if we can reside within our own truth, our own love, our own compassion, our own ease, then naturally we will be able to perceive this in a neutral way. Not in a way that's apathetic or in a way that it's not creating action, but in a way in which is healing by your perception alone. We must understand the potency and power of simply perceiving from the vantage point of truth, from the vantage point of acceptance and love and compassion, how powerful that truly is. This is what is doing the healing. To perceive something that so many are condemning, And that is igniting such a ferocious anger and all of the energy and all of the emotions that come, but to still see the light within whatever is arising, the beauty of its ignition of transformation and change, or the healing that can come from this, the forgiveness, all of the above. This is the highest work. This is the true service. So do not take that lightly, that we have to go out and put the pitchfork and do the protest or do some huge action or create something, all that. Action is necessary, but the first action is compassion. The first action is showing up within ourselves in an embodiment of love, and to perceive, to allow the vessel of darkness to move through us and to be dissolved within our perception, to be purified, vanished. This is how we come to perceive all of what is being revealed in this time. And it will reveal then deep truths. It will reveal deeper truths about how this reality works, and how those who are idolized and the celebrities and the ruling forces and those who are trying to save the world, like now with various different people, I won't mention names, but these people, the way in which it has worked for these to come into fruition and to be revealed in certain ways, there's much complexities to this, and many in which we're perceiving, we cannot even really perceive them as humans any longer. Because of course we have to remember that anyone who is inflicting pain on another naturally is coming from a place of deep pain, deep trauma. And to the extremities of their movements of so-called evil or unrighteousness, naturally is going to reveal deeper and deeper wounds and pains and traumas that could be unspeakable, beyond our wildest imagination of what some have gone through. And thus, when those go through the intensity of traumas of this nature, it separates aspects of ourselves. It creates rifts within our psyche and our consciousness, to the point where it's as if one is under an ongoing hypnosis, sleepwalker, almost like a zombie in a sense. And so to condemn that is natural, it is valid, especially to the degree in which we're seeing what is being revealed on the planet at this time. It is first calling for forgiveness and compassion and acceptance, because it's through this lens in which it will reveal the truth of what is truly being perceived, the truth of the new direction we can all take, the truth of healing that is possible for any being, no matter how unrighteous they have acted. We can just simply look at our own life when we have acted in ways that are less than perfect, that we have been given other chances, we've been given opportunities for healing and our own forgiveness, or forgiveness from another. So we must depart this upon every being that we come across, so that we're not getting caught up in the illusions of what the masses are condemning, or doing this or doing that, and calling this person evil and calling out this person, all of that. Leave that to them. But bring your power back to heal everything within yourselves that says this other is an evil, or this thing is evil, or this thing is less than. Resolve it within your consciousness. Resolve it within your own being and body first before you take any action. Because that's the highest action. That's the ultimate action. That's the action where we'll be continuously brought into deeper levels of our own light. And this is a process I'm speaking of because I actively do this within myself. I'm just like you. I go on my newsfeed. I'm aware of many different things being shared. Some of these so-called conspiracies I've seen for almost over a decade now. And ongoingly, every time I'm revealed something that brings something more deeply in with myself, I see the opportunity for healing. I see the pain that these others may be experiencing so deeply within themselves, and I perceive that within my own being. I do the healing work for myself from the mirror I'm seeing within them. And thus it is liberating them if they so choose that. If they desire to be relieved from their own pains and traumas, they will be done so. The more and more that we each do this work, naturally we're giving this gift to all others. This is the greatest service we can be. So ongoingly, we're given this in the mirror. We're given this ongoingly in each moment, and we will continue to. And this is my true, call to myself, to the reflections of myself in you, for all of us to do this work. Because firstly, it's more efficient. You're going to feel less drained in the debates and things you may get into with other people or within yourself, coming into this piece of knowledge and now into this piece of knowledge, or living your life in this way and now seeing it in this way. Bring it all back within yourself. See, it's all coming from within you anyways. Projecting itself. And I'm going to see if I can come with another diagram for all of you that will be able to present the way in which holographic reality works in a very simple diagram from a friend of mine. See if I can find it here. If there's any questions or comments about everything we're talking about, then, here we are. Actually, I'll pull up this one. Going back here, this beautiful diagram. If you're coming in late, we went over this before. It's a beautiful process that I've outlined. Now we look at the 15-dimensional fields of our universe. These 15 dimensions we exist on simultaneously, but only some aspects of our consciousness are available to us at certain points. In the first three, we have our natural physical incarnate self. Then we go to our spirit, soul body, oversoul, rishi, avatar. These are the 5 subsets of the dimensional fields. Now, as we were mentioning, we rest within the middle. We perceive the illusion of darkness that has happened on this planet many times and in this universe many, many, many years ago, creating what we call almost like a black hole system, where we've been existing in the false light of the traditional tree of life and the Fibonacci sequence, which are false light technologies. These are misrepresentations of the true. You can even see it if this feels more natural, more aligned than this, just by looking at it. There's a natural ease to this, and there's also a natural spiral. So this false spiral and this manifestation of illusionary creator gods, AI technology that are infiltrating the entirety of our planet, have been infiltrated our planet for a very long period of time. This is the shadow side, and this is what we perceive within ourselves. We're being revealed this on a collective scale, the nature of the shadow. Now on the light side, there is no limit to our consciousness. It goes back into its light fields of source and comes back again. As we step down, we go into holographic projection, meaning everything we perceive is a projection of the higher fields coming down and expressing itself. And as we move up, we're integrating everything that we're perceiving in our holographic projection. That's what we've been going over all day, all night. Everything we perceive in our holographic perception is to be integrated back into ourselves. It's to be integrated back in to heal ourselves and to ascend into higher light fields where we will perceive higher versions of ourselves. Don't need to leave the body. The body can exist while simultaneously inhabiting all of this. And there are specific beings that have walked our planet before that have done that. And we are all going to have the potential to do so if we apply ourselves in a certain way. So we can see the artificial, false shadow matrix, and we've existed in for some time, and we fell into this trap of hierarchy, the hierarchical gods and gurus and leaders and masters that we have to follow. Here I'm not asking you to follow. I'm asking you to just simply apply what I'm sharing. I'm along this same path as all of you. We are all on the same path. And we move back into our original blueprint. So when we come into alignment within ourselves, we open up into the true reality and not get caught within this false reality, which is confined. It does not give us the full access. And there are many, many teachings that have perpetuated this over the years along our planet that seem great and seem real and do have ounces of truth to them. Everything will have ounces of truth, but there will be a limit. There will be a limit to it. And so we must feel into what that is for us and what that feels like to us along our path as we're coming across different teachings. And so this is a very powerful diagram. This comes from a friend of mine, Noel Tobin, within the Christic and Keylontic Science Wisdom. But we're going into some deep things here tonight. We're really diving in. But it's great to be here with all of you and to share in this way because there's a certain potency to what this all is. It's coming into a simplicity of the path while still existing within the complexity of what these teachings represent. And I feel we're all ready for that, and that's naturally why we're diving into it. Yes, Katrin, that's a beautiful piece there. Forgiveness. Everyone can go and read that. So we're here. If there's any questions, feel free to speak on it. We are going to be doing this weekly on Wednesdays and Sundays. I may add some extra. We may do it on Saturdays at times as well. We have endless pieces we're going to get into, but continue to come back to these core methods that we are pointing to, which have to do with the simplicity of awareness and coming back to the essence of being through the methods that we've outlined. So if you're coming in late, again, it's recommended to rewatch this. You can rewatch any of the sessions on my YouTube. They're all going to be there, which I'll link in the description. I'll link a donation link as well, because that is this is all being gifted, but if you do feel called, and that's always available, just link that. And I will link in my YouTube channel, which is, I have endless videos there, and it's more organized, obviously, than Facebook stream of just, endless shares and things. The website, infinitechic.com, is going to have everything as well, all the free resources. I know in the Universal Awakening group, Matt just released a new free ebook, so you guys are going to be able to go and access that, so I'd highly recommend to do so. I know he's put a lot of effort into that, so shout outs to you, Matt. And deep love to all of you. I mean, this has been yet another potent and powerful session. Again, I'm putting YouTube, donation link, all in the main live feed. And you're going to have to manually type in my website because Facebook has blocked my website. So that's infinitechic.com. And I'm still open to questions, if there's comments or questions that are arising at the moment. This is always the time for that. And just simply how you're feeling. I mean, I'm tuning into a certain essence of peace within the group. Naturally, every time we tune in these groups, or if I'm doing one-on-one work where we're working through these energies more specifically, everything in my body will reflect it. I'll feel all the energies within my own body. And we all have this capacity in some degree. And as I mentioned, taking upon the power and potential to bring back everything, integrate everything back within yourself. Everything that's projected within the holographic reality into the external is to be brought back within yourself, and it will naturally, through just perception of what is arising within this field, within this body, and how do I allow for a natural and further surrender for fluidity and ease and love and compassion. This is the simplicity of this process and method, which of course is easier said than done, though it becomes easy as it's done. So let's meme that. So if anyone wants to quote that up on a meme, we can go ahead and do that. But I don't even know what I just said. But this is a very powerful piece and a reminder. Right? That's easier said than done, but it will become easy as it's done. And if we continue to practice all of ourselves, and devote all of ourselves into the practice ongoingly, we embody a never-ending meditation. Meditation is the state of being. It is the source state of being. It is how we enter the higher layers of consciousness. But we have to reside within this first. We have to reside within this space of natural being, moment to moment in our human life. This is the way. So, deep love to all of you. I mean, for showing up. There's such a beauty to this. Again, a couple things. If you're just coming in, I'd highly recommend to rewatch all of this. You can go on YouTube and you're gonna have access to all the every one we do will be put there, so you can have a kind of a depository of all of them. If you found benefit from this, you can do a number of things. You can share this, start a watch party, watch it again in your own feeds or whatever. Tag some friends. Actually, there's many in your friend, acquaintances that can benefit from this and benefit from much of the content that you're coming into. So always take it upon yourselves to tune in to who you feel can connect with this without crossing boundaries. Keep it mindful with the sharing and the messages and the memes. And then the donation link is there as well, which you can, from those in my main feed, can access. But yes, it's beautiful. It's always connect with you. Again, I'm going to leave it open if there's any other questions, but I'm feeling quite complete in all of this. If anyone feels called, actually, this is a request. If anyone is feeling called to chop up videos, if you have video skills and you feel like called to chop out videos, um, then take it upon yourself. Download this video and please do that. I'm going to be chopping up some, but the content is getting vast. There's endless videos and content coming out almost every day, and quite a bit of it. So I'll leave it at that. Alrighty. Who else is here? Avatara. What a name. Very nice. All right, friends. Deep love to you all. Enjoy your night. Spend time with yourself, as you already have, and spread some love. Peace.